Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Nintendo Rewind. I'm Cody Christian. I'm joined by my co-host, Chris Becker. We're rewinding and recapping last week for Nintendo, but before we dive in, Chris, I know there was a long, awkward pause there. Chris Becker! But before we dive in, Christopher, how's it going, my dude? How's it going? Well, I'm looking this other thing up real quick.
Yeah, you go ahead and look that up. I'll talk about how it's going. It's going great. I feel like I'm on a tropical island.
A DK tropical freeze, you might say.
A DK tropical 1/8 freeze is what I feel like. Yeah, I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Actually, that's a lie. I have been sick for the past 2 days. I don't know what happened. It's just like Sunday night I started feeling awful after you and I got off of playing Marvel Rivals with my wife, specifically, not the wife. I guess she is technically the wife at this point. But we got finished up and my throat was hurting. I was like, man, this is bad. And then Monday I got up and I was like, gosh, I feel awful. And I spent like half the day laying on a couch and the other half of the day laying in the bed, because I was feeling so cruddy. And then today I was still feeling cruddy. Not as bad as yesterday, but still feeling really, really cruddy. Took the kids to art class, and boy howdy, were they absolutely terroristic when it came to going to art class and coming back. And it wasn't even like both of them. It was like just Lando, who was very upset he couldn't bring his art project home when it needs to stay there to be in an art show. But you know, hey.
Well, sometimes we don't want to leave our things places.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was like, dude, you're gonna get it in like 2-3 weeks whenever we go do the art show. And he was like, I want it now. I was like, dude, no. So dealt with that. I'm still feeling really stuffy. I'm still feeling really cruddy, but like we're here. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Actually, I want to show off this. Hang on one second. Look at that. Look at that bingo card. Look at that bingo card. That bingo card's pretty awesome. We're close to getting a bingo in so many different ways, like four different ways to get a bingo, pretty much. We've got pretty much the only thing we're missing in the diagonal from New Mario Kart, Metroid Prime 4, Switch 2 launch, and full mouse utilization game is the alt-color Joy-Con. The only thing we're missing vertically, and I don't know if this one's going to happen, really at this point, from the vertical center line, is the cloud-based native release. I don't know if we're going to see like Control or anything come out. Like Elden Ring would very clearly be cloud-based if it was on Switch 1. But you know, it is what it is. And then this row, like the fourth row, we're only missing Mina the Hollower. If that comes out this year, dude, we're so it's gonna be awesome. This right here, missing Mina the Hollower.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. Okay, just zoom in on the T.
I can't zoom in any farther.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the other one that I could see happen, because we only had one. You're making me sick. The only one I had was we had one Ubisoft game, so I could see like Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then the rest of that row too.
Sea of Thieves, Mario sports title.
Yeah, well, I could see one.
Isn't technically Mario Kart a sports title? If we really want to get technical about it, NASCAR is a sport.
120 frames a second.
120 frames a second, sport, absolutely. But no, like I'm pretty stoked. We had a really good week last week. Honestly, I was kind of worried about tonight's show. Because there's a lot to talk about, and I didn't know exactly how we were gonna tackle a lot of it, but you know, I'm thinking basically this week what we're gonna do is we're gonna dive into just kind of recapping the direct and providing important updates to the things that we know. Next week we're gonna be doing a deep dive on Donkey Kong Bonanza. The week after that we're gonna do the deep dive on Mario Kart World, because there's a direct on the 17th. Otherwise we would have done Mario Kart World next week, but there's going to be so much more information that's out there before we get to Mario Kart World, and I didn't want to do it too early. But I think that's kind of the plan. The week after that, What do you want to talk about? We can talk about Pokemon Legends. I'm kidding. No, hopefully we can talk about the
We can talk
pricing of the
about,
Nintendo
other
Switch.
stuff, Metroid, because we can talk about that one of these days.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. But that was my week, and honestly, like, I just spent the entire weekend with anxiety having to like plan this show out because it was just a lot. And I was like, man, like we've dealt with like this drought of Nintendo news for the last, God, who knows how long. Like it's been significantly longer than I think we ever would have expected. The amount of like tier list episodes we had to do over the last 3 months is just stupid. Because Nintendo wasn't saying anything was coming out. But that being said, we've got tons of stuff to talk about, and I just it's a big old pile of anxiety to talk about. So but I don't know. How are you feeling about Switch 2 news and everything else? Are you excited about everything? Is there anything that's like kind of getting you like in the kicking the balls as far as that goes with what's
hold on. Hey,
what's going on?
Easy, pal. Let's leave my balls alone, okay? Here's one thing. I guess there were a couple of things I was excited about. You're talking about everything that was announced, that I'm excited about?
No, I mean, we haven't gotten into the actual part of the show just yet, but is there, does the amount of news that is out there, is it affecting you in quite the same way it's affected me, where I'm like, oh my God, there's so much to talk about. I don't know how we're going to fit it all in. I don't know how we're going to talk about it. That's where I'm at.
I feel like some of the stuff we'll be able to just breeze through quicker than other stuff. Like some of the stuff they spent a lot more time on it than I even cared about. And then some
Dragon Drive. Let's be cool to ARMS.
Yeah, exactly.
If you watched our live reaction, you know what that joke's about. But it's over on the YouTube.
Yeah, the fact that this is all the games that they've announced so far, more games have come out. There was, I think the most possibly some of the most excited I was about the stuff that got announced for the Switch. Was like there was an indie game that got announced. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. For the Switch, and it was it uses the mouse controls, and it's 4-player with mouse controls, and that stuff like that, it gets me excited in the same way when games started using creative uses of the touch screen on the DS when that first came out.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's fine to touch.
To see what they do. Yeah. Touching is good, isn't that what it said?
Yeah, it was touching is good. Yeah, it was touching is good. The thing that I desperately want right now, other than is the I want a mouse grip for the Joy-Con. Like, can you imagine? Like, I don't have my Switch in here right now, but I mean, it's pretty much as thin as a Switch case for the most part. It's like, are you really gonna want to be like using a Switch Joy-Con in quite that same way? No. Like, the answer is like absolutely not. Like, I need a grip for it, but I don't know. We've got a lot to dive into today, and not a whole lot of time to do it because we're trying to pretty much condense. Yeah, like they did an hour-long like sizzle reel, but they didn't give opinion on it. They just was like, "Here's this, like, here's this thing." So we've got quite a bit to try to make our way through. Chat, I do want to know. I saw Zed in the live chat there. I'm most excited by blank. I do want to know what you guys are actually excited for with the Nintendo Switch and what you're most looking forward to. So hit us up in the comments if you're over there on the YouTube channel, or just let us know here live on Twitch as well. We'd love to be able to know what you're excited for. Maybe kind of mold our content surrounding that just a little bit more. Who knows? But I do want to talk a little bit about the whole pre-order delay too. I think that's going to be an important part of tonight's show and kind of our opinions on it and just really what we're expecting and forecasting. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. But of course, the first thing that we always got to do, we got to make sure that we thank our lovely contributors over at NintendoRewind.com. That is an old Nintendo news ticker that's up there. If you'd like to support the show in a more direct way, you can sign up now over at NintendoRewind.com. Every bit of support you guys give, no matter what the tier, is helpful, and we're super thankful for that. Alternatively, if you're watching live, you can type in !member in our chat here on Twitch, and it will provide a link. Otherwise, go to NintendoRewind.com. That being said, I'd like to thank our supporters Shinybird, Calamity Nolan, and Sierra Christian for their generosity here at Nintendo Rewind. Now, without any further ado, let's get back to the show. All right, so we've got a whole crap ton of stuff to get through here, and luckily I was able to kind of clear out the showing off the bingo card right at the beginning. We're going to kind of break this down in some bite-sized chunks as far as that goes. Part of it is going to be the first part of it is going to be functionality of the Switch 2 and what you can expect out of that. The second part of it is going to be all of the accessories that got announced and pricing on those. And then the third part is going to be on games, and even those have like kind of subcategories where it's like, this is first party games, pricing, release date. This is third party games, and then Nintendo Switch Online stuff, and kind of providing some clarity around those. And plus, of course, like Chris and I have been kind of staying pretty plugged into what's been going on with all of the announcements. But I'm going to throw these things out there, and obviously like we can kind of talk about these as we go through it and what that impact is, or maybe, a little bit of opinion on it. But I do want to start off with what we now know for sure confirmed about the Nintendo Switch 2's functionality. The first thing is, and this is like the biggest thing, and they talked about this a lot during the Direct, is frames per second and resolution. Like,
yeah, a lot more than I thought they would.
So one of the I was watching Kit and Krista's podcast, and one of the things that they had said was, it's like every time they've came out with the system, they've always like really focused on the gimmick, right? And it's like when the Wii came out, it was like, we have motion controls. When the DS came out, you could touch the screen. When the Wii U came out, it was you could touch the screen. But actually it was like you can swap between TV mode and handheld mode that way. But
right.
When this hit, like the thing that I think is really funny that they said was, it's like they are talking about frames per second and resolution, like that is the gimmick, but really that's become the standard in the industry. But like Nintendo still thinks it's the gimmick. But I digress. We now know that we've got 4K, 60 frames per second in TV mode, 1080p, 120 frames per second in handheld mode, HDR, a 7.9 inch screen, a whole new dock, magnetic snap-on controllers, mouse controls in both Joy-Con 2, and a C button for game chat. And game chat, you can use a camera accessory that's sold separately. There's game share feature that lets users share games with friends that don't own a copy. There's 256 gigs of internal storage. That's the big news about this, right? So like that's the big news about all the functionality that we got. But they really harped on that frames per second thing and the resolution thing. When realistically, like, look, we know Nintendo a lot of times is a little bit behind. Like, not even a little bit behind. A lot of bit behind when they're coming out with their technology. That's just the MO for Nintendo. Typically, I don't really care about that for the most part, because I'm not there for their technology. I'm there for their innovation in games, in the sense that their games are fun to play. Like, it is very rare I pick up a Microsoft Studios game nowadays and I'm like, this is fun to play, or a Sony, unless it's Insomniac, in which case I'm fully sold on Spider-Man and maybe the possible Wolverine game that may come eventually. But
Eventually.
Like, it's just one of those things where I'm not there for their tech and innovation in that. And it was such a weird thing to hear how much they were talking about the 4K to the extent that they were like, and we're streaming this in 4K. Like it's like it was a big deal, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That said, I am excited for 4K because stretching out all of the games that I've played on my Switch 1 on my 4K TVs has always looked awful. It's been blurry. It's been absolutely awful.
Yeah, because remember that was the big thing even with the Wii
Mm-hmm.
when it was what was it,
480i.
480?
480i.
Right, and people were like, "What is this?" You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason it should have been at the level that it was. It was pretty disappointing as far as that goes. And I see you, Nedist, in the live chat, and he's saying it'll look bad on your 4K TV with the Switch 2 as well, because it's being AI upscaled. Everything I'm seeing from people's hands-on experience at it, and these are from videographer style people who do videography and analytics. I think obviously there is a trick there, right? Like it is very obvious that there's a trick there. The frame rate being imaginary, it's inserting B frames, which is not uncommon even in movie making, where they insert B frames that are generated blends of frame 1 and frame 2 to give you a secret frame 2 that kind of smooths the look. The thing that I would be more worried about than anything is that, like, eventually the frame rate making it look like every grandparent's television has ever looked whenever they upgraded to HD flat screens. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it just, I don't want smooth motion plus integrated into this, but they are talking about the fact that, like, the visual fidelity is there as far as being on these 4K televisions, and it's crispy. I don't know personally firsthand, and neither does Chris, because neither of us got invited to these Nintendo experiences. The next one's in Dallas, and that's like 3 weeks away. I was looking at wanting to go and maybe seeing how much a flight was, but when I saw it was 3 weeks away, and then, like, you know, a couple days after that, I got to pre-order it, and then it's like, I need to save some money because I need to buy this thing because we still don't exactly know how much it's going to cost, which again, we'll get to a little bit later. It's one of those things where I think that it may turn out better than most people would anticipate. And that's my hope. That is my hope, that it will turn out better than people are anticipating. But we'll have to wait and see. That being said, Chris, you know, what's your whole take on the whole 4K 60 frames, 1080p, 120 frames thing?
Yeah. And then not only that, but then you have, like, stuff came out later that, like, some of the games, Cyberpunk
Mm-hmm.
is 40 FPS
Yeah.
docked.
I mean, what else
And-
were they going to do? Like, that game didn't run well when it came out.
Right, yeah.
And I know they've done a lot of work. I don't mean to downplay CD Projekt Red stuff, but, you know, at the same time, it's like, come on now. What do you expect?
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, I expect similar performance out of, you know, some of the other games. But the first party Nintendo games, I'm sure they're going to do what they can to make them, 120 FPS. And then
Without
that, but then-
without digitally adding those frames?
well, I don't know what they're planning on doing, because I think eventually the games will get to a point, even for Nintendo, because, like, for the Switch, they had a hard time hitting 30 FPS in some of their games.
Yeah.
All the time.
I mean,
And so,
Pokemon.
right, Link's Awakening, you know,
Echoes of Wisdom.
yeah, Echoes of Wisdom.
Which the
anytime-
people who still deny that happened, like, I cannot tell you that, like, that's probably one of our best viewed videos that we have on our channel over on YouTube. And there were so many people that were commenting, I didn't experience a single bit of frame rate. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? First off, You're not frame rate. You're not using that word right. Like, second off, there were significant FPS dips in that game, and it was ridiculous how bad it was at times when it really shouldn't have been. That game wasn't even that.
Quite noticeable, yeah.
Woof. Anyway, sorry, you about to got me on a tangent. Like, I was about to rant. We don't have time to rant.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, so just the fact that they had it like that, I don't know. I'm not sure how it'll end up looking, because I have played games with DLSS, like PC games, and I'm playing on a 1080p monitor, not a 4K monitor.
Yeah.
So, but even at like 1080p, some games handle it better than others. So it's, just like anything else.
Right.
I guess it just depends on how they handle it and what they do. I would rather have, because I'm sure with them having that, and then also having the ability to pick performance or quality, they're also probably going to have the ability to just turn it off and then just play it whatever it is.
Well, I mean, they kind of showed, like, as far as that goes, you don't have to play in the 4K if you don't want to. Like, TV mode has multiple different digital outputs, and I don't know for sure whether the frame rate is going to be something that you can set as well. I would have to assume no, it's Nintendo, but they still don't even have sound settings in 90% of their games.
Right. You want to change the buttons? Too bad.
Yep.
They did say, I did see something that came out today about each game you'll be able to create a controller setting for each game. So if there's like a certain game that you
step in the right direction, I guess, for accessibility in some ways, but.
Right.
We'll see.
I guess if you plan on playing a certain game and you only want to use whatever it's called, mouse controls, but then so you want to change a button, but you don't want it to be for every game, just for that one game. We'll see how it goes. Yep. I am curious to see with that mouse controls how, like, when Splatoon 4 evenally comes, how
we're absolutely going to get bodied. That's what's going to happen.
Like, it's going to be, they're going to have, a Splatfest, and it's going to be motion controls versus mouse control.
But motion controls versus mouse controls versus versus sticks.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude. I don't even think about it. The thing that I think I was most excited about, like, even beyond like the 4K, 60 frames per second, 1080p, 120 frames per second, whatever it may be, the thing that I was most excited about is the comparisons between the screen, because, like, obviously we knew they were shifting away from the OLED screen, right? Like, that was pretty much theorized, and then it was confirmed. Right. And I was really worried about going back to whatever the display was on the original Nintendo Switch, because, like, whenever I upgraded to the OLED, right? When I upgraded to the OLED, the blacks and the color saturation was a world different. Stuff didn't look washed out. And part of me was worried about it too, because, like, I have a Steam Deck. I don't have an OLED Steam Deck. I have a standard Steam Deck. And the colors are so washed out on my Steam Deck compared to playing them on, if I plug it into a dock that one of my friends got me. and who is that friend? It was Chris. If I plug it into a dock and then play it on my TV, the games always look better. They just look better. The color saturation's better. Everything is just significantly better. And I didn't want to go back, but, like, I saw comparison footage taken top down on an OLED Nintendo versus the Nintendo Switch 2. Handheld mode. Both of them were in handheld mode. And obviously, like, when you're recording with a phone or when you're recording with a camera, like, what you're seeing on camera is not always effectively what you perceive in person. But for the most part, because of the high dynamic range, the HDR function that is in that screen, it made it significantly better. The color saturation was a lot better, and your blacks were deeper. They're not going to be as deep as like the OLED blacks, because essentially an OLED just turns off, right? Like it just turns off. But it does look a lot better than the original launch model Nintendo Switch. And that was the thing that probably excited me the most out of that made me go, okay, I don't feel like I'm taking a step backwards in technology. Netta says, well, the Switch 2 is an HDR display, but you're still not going to get blacks as nice as an OLED. And that is true. That is 100% true. But your color saturation on the stuff that will be turned on that screen, which everything will be turned on, even your blacks are going to have a hint of blue to them. Every single color.
Yeah.
I am being interrupted. Courtney, can you come get this child, please, before he demonetizes us again and I have to edit this video? Go upstairs.
Yeah.
Go.
But
be gone.
But then
I love you, child. Be gone. He is not leaving. I can't answer your questions right now. Oh my God.
Yeah. There's zero questions that could be answered right now. But I will say the one thing about the HDR is I usually don't even have it turned on because I'm creating.
I'm gonna have to start locking that door.
If I'm creating, ow, don't make me laugh. If Seth Rogen, if they, I don't remember. I got in pain and then forgot where I was. Okay, so with HDR, usually I'm like recording like a gameplay video or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even have HDR on, just because if you're watching it without HDR, it just kind of looks not quite the same.
Right.
But yeah, so I usually don't even use HDR, but I would do it in handheld mode. But
I think there's a flip to this though, where like most content still, even to this day, is not produced with HDR in mind. So when you turn it on, it doesn't look quite right. But this is a console that's made by Nintendo, and most of the consoles, PlayStation, Xbox, they all still support high dynamic range. And games are made with HDR in mind versus like your just general consumer electronic that people aren't even really utilizing all the features for, right? So yeah. I think that we are going to have better image quality even on the television docked because of the HDR that it's going to have available to it, because they're going to have the games developed with HDR in mind. Otherwise, like every time I've turned on HDR for a TV show that doesn't necessarily support HDR, it's looked pretty bad. It's looked pretty bad. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying too, Nettis. It's HDR is fairly non-standardized, and HDR computer displays are practically non-existent. But I'm talking about for television and going from Switch as well. And a lot of these games are still going to be geared toward that. Like that is going to be one of their focuses. I think we're going to see that happen, where your image quality is going to be better on your TV if you have the HDR turned on for it.
Yeah. But I mean, I think HDR is something like it's there, but I don't care that it's there. I never usually care that it's there, but you know, the fact that they have it, I might use it more if I was playing in handheld mode, on an OLED. Yeah, you know,
I could understand that.
So I guess in 2027 when the OLED comes out.
Let's not do that. How much is that going to be? 700? They did talk about a couple of other things here, and I highlighted them before we started diving into the topic, but the C button for game chat. So we now know what the enigmatic C button actually is. I know, I'm trying to throw that $10 word out there. But it was for chat. And you know how much I'm so disappointed by that. Like, I really wanted to be like capsule, like where you usually switch one is like a secondary display for it, and we can get Nintendo Land. That would have been awesome. Instead, top USB is used to connect accessories while it's docked. And all that being said, like, it just isn't what I really wanted. Like, I'm not, because okay. Chris, let me ask you. When you are in a Discord call,
ask me, yeah.
When you're in a Discord call, Do you turn on your camera when you're in a Discord call to play video games with somebody?
Do I turn on my camera?
You
No.
don't even turn on your camera when you're on a Twitch stream, let alone in a Discord call. Second, do you really want to be on camera while playing Mario Kart in your living room with everybody? I mean, it Tenderly in the live chat, Nintendo Discord, it did look exactly like the Discord interface. Don't get it don't get it twisted. It looked exactly like the Discord interface, except you're green screened onto your gameplay. It is like, why? Who wanted this? Who really wanted this? Like, I understand the game chat, and let's take a moment to thank Nintendo for finally getting with the times.
There was a rumor Nintendo was working on a feature like this was that like a year ago or 2 years ago that they were working on this? But instead of you, it was going to use like your Mii as like a, what are those things? What are they called?
Avatar? VTuber?
As like a, yeah.
It's going to use your Mii as a VTuber?
Yeah, it was going to use your Mii as a VTuber.
Does it be a MeTuber?
But it was going to use the camera to get your movements and things, and then it was going to use your Mii or Toad-like characters to put in front of your gameplay. So
that's cool, I guess.
I guess that's what was the plan, and they were like, let's just do.
I would have preferred that, to be honest.
And then someone at Nintendo saw Mario Kart arcade game and we're like, give us that. We want that.
Yep.
We want that.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about how cheesy the conversations were that those people were having? Like, you can't tell me. I mean, we've played games together. You've heard how I go on in the background whenever we're playing on Marvel Rivals or whatever game, insert game of the month that we're into. It's just like, that's not what our conversations look like. Oh, you need to go left, and then, hey, let's go over here and take this shortcut. It's like, no, I'm over here like trying my best not to curse out an entire team who just like bodied us.
And I just keep spamming need heals as you're respawning.
Yes, like, no, come on now. But a lot of people have been calling this one out, like this button out specifically as the. I mean, you said it right before we got the show really started. It's the pay to press button. Like, you have to have Nintendo Switch Online to even be able to use it.
Yeah, it is the pay to press button. I saw people comparing it to, like, when they go on to like when you get like a TV remote and it's got like the Netflix button.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that.
It is exactly like that.
Push the Netflix button, it takes you to Netflix, and then if you don't have a Netflix, it's like, hey,
sign up for Netflix.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. I guess they refused to answer the question when asked what happens if you push it. When they were like, "Well, it tells you about all the features that it can do."
Man, those PR people are good at diverting. But yeah, I don't know. Like,
not that good. I mean, they basically. Yeah, we'll talk about it later, but yeah.
I don't see that feature being utilized near as much as it could be, right? Like, I really don't see it being utilized as much as it could be. I think if they make it to where you could stream that to Twitch, like if they integrated that feature where you could stream it to Twitch, I think there would be a lot more people playing on Twitch, streaming on Twitch, or YouTube, or whatever streaming platform of choice you might want. And that could be interesting for an accessibility standpoint for a lot of people who really want to get into it, but at the same time, like, there are a lot, I don't know, like, the quality on that camera is also garbage, and the other one is even worse, like the Piranha Plant one. It's 480p.
Yeah, I don't care about the camera as much because I'm not gonna be getting the camera, but they did, I guess, say that any USB-C camera can work.
Oh, I'm going to jam in my Elgato onto it, then we'll find out what happens.
Jam it in there. Yeah. But I do like the idea of just being able to talk with friends, I guess. I mean, I'd probably be in the Discord. So I'm in Discord calls, but if I can, if I'm not playing something or just want to see their gameplay while
Mhm.
and they don't have, a setup that where they can stream it to Discord, if I
Yeah.
can just watch just that one person's gameplay.
Yeah, I can see some benefit of that. Like, I am
I
not
don't mind
totally
the
against
gameplay
it.
sharing.
If only it wasn't running
Even
at
if it
3
was,
frames
like,
a second.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but at least they were realistic about it and not being like, hey, here is like showing it's buttery smooth and then you get it and it looks like it did in that trailer.
dude, the riot that would have happened.
Yeah, they would have been pooped.
The one feature that they talked about that I really liked that is a feature of the actual console right now too is the game share feature. So letting users share a game with friends who don't own a copy. That's so cool. Like, that's like, I can play Split Fiction with you. I mean, granted, I could do that anyway because they did like a guest pass kind of thing. But let's say they hadn't, and I didn't have Split Fiction, and you bought it on Nintendo Switch too. I don't have to have that copy to be able to play it. Probably a better example is like, let's say they have 2-player mode like they did in Super Mario Odyssey on Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like, I can play as the rock character on your back while you play as Donkey Kong if you give me a guest pass to your game for that day. You know, like, I really, really like that. And I wish that had became the standard, like, I don't know, years ago. Like,
right. Well, this is like the thing that I would wanted ever since,
the
like
DS.
the DS when everyone could be Shy
Mario
Guys,
Kart,
right?
yeah, Mario Kart DS. Would have been awesome. I wish they'd have kept that around a lot longer, and it's cool that it's coming back. And the question that I have for it is that going to be compatible with all multiplayer titles? Is it only going to be compatible with Nintendo titles specifically? Like, are third-party developers going to get on board with that and be okay with it? And that,
Right.
because how is that going to affect their sales? Like, okay, Chris and I, we live miles apart, obviously. Like, if you boot up a game and you want someone to be able to be your second player and it's a third-party game, are they going to be happy that I've booted into your game and play second party? And I'm specifically thinking about, and we'll get to these guys later, like the EA squad of games. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to want that to happen. Like, they
Right.
want me to go spend money on their game. That's what they want. EA, it's in your wallet.
Right.
But you know,
but some of the games, I believe, okay, so some of the games you can like game share locally, and then other ones you can game share online. Like what they said, it says Mario Party Jamboree is local. And
so
then
it's different so not all of them are going to be online.
they're
Okay,
all going to be
well,
different. And then
that's stupid.
Mario 3D World is going to be online game share, but only on Switch 2, not on Switch 1.
Well, I mean, it's the Plus Jamboree TV one, probably. You know. Oh man, well, that sucks. Didn't realize that. Now my hype has died down on that feature pretty significantly. Thanks for killing the stream. Like, that's awful.
Well,
Dang it.
Okay. Yeah, so they have on the website, right? They have it listed where Jamboree is local only, and then Clubhouse Games, Captain Toad, Mario Odyssey, 3D World, and Big Brain Academy are all online game share, but those are the only games listed. They don't have any Switch 2 games listed.
Well, I mean, we don't really have any Switch 2 games except
Mario Kart.
Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World, and you gotta bet, like, pretty much everybody's gonna own that anyway. It's the cheapest way to get a game and a console at launch right now. As far as the confirmed pricing, we do know. That's not counting what else we've got going on. So, let's dive into the rest of this. Red cartridges, taller physical game cases, spatial 3D sound with headphones.
Oh wait, before we do that, game chat that we were talking about
Uh-huh.
is free.
Oh, so it's not a pay to press button.
You don't need Nintendo Switch Online until March 31st.
I mean, yeah, I forgot to mention that. That is the case
said
for
a
all of
limited
systems,
time. Yeah, you can do that for almost a year. And then after that, I imagine, I mean, they didn't say it, but I imagine the price of NSO is going to go up.
I mean, logistically, it probably should. I think, honestly, like I've been a defender of Nintendo Switch Online for a long time because the value you get for it for what you pay for. And it's not even the online portion of it. It's the access to the back catalog of games, right? Like that is the thing that you pay for. The expansion passes for Splatoon, the expansion pass for Mario Kart 8, all of the back catalog stuff, the Animal Crossing expansion, the Nintendo Switch music, or not, my apologies, not Nintendo Switch music, Nintendo Music app. Like it is all of these like extracurricular things that have nothing to do with playing online that really makes that service worth it. And $80 for an entire family of what, up to 6 people, I think, or something like that, can join it. Maybe even 8. I don't remember because I don't have it maxed out.
For what is it?
For Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pass,
yeah.
$80 for that is a good deal. It is a good deal.
I think it might be 6.
It might be 6. I couldn't remember if it was 6 or 8, but like it's a good deal. And I think overall,
it might be 8 actually. Yeah,
it is a justifiable thing to think about raising the price on it if their servers work and not like they currently do, right? Like they're continuing to try to add extra benefit after extra benefit, which is really cool. But I want it to do the thing that I bought it for, which was to play online games with my friends and not have to restart a lobby every 30 to 50 minutes, depending on the game.
Well, yeah, no, definitely, I agree. I don't know. I just, it, some of these things, it's like, oh, that's cool. And then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I'm never gonna use the camera.
Hang on. Let's go through these things because this is the next segment. Okay. This is the accessory segment. Stop speed running the news. But we'll speed run it and we'll do it a little bit differently. And here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna name the product and I'm gonna tell the people how much it costs, and then I want you to give it a rating of 1 to 5 stars on your excitement level for that product. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. All new Pro Controller, $79.99.
1 star.
1 is the worst. Yeah, 1 is the worst.
Yeah, 1. That's good.
Okay, let me rephrase this before you start 1-starring every single thing. Next. How much rated on how much you feel like you would use that product. Okay, that's probably a better way to say that. All right, so now starting over from the top, all new Pro Controllers, $79.99.
No, just kidding.
You sound like you're crying.
I think I am a little. Okay, so yeah, I got a couple of tears. Yeah, I guess probably let's be honest. I mean, I'm probably gonna use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 5 stars, I guess, because it's what, $10 more than the Switch One Pro Controller.
Yes.
Or is it? Yeah.
It's $10 more than it's the same price as a pair of Joy-Cons currently. For the current Joy-Cons, $80. So, Nintendo Switch 2 camera, $49.99.
1 star.
It's 1080p though.
That's fancy. I say that, but I'm probably gonna, just like the Alarmo, I'll eventually get one.
Joy-Con 2, $89.99 for a second set.
We'll not get a second set until they come out with a different color.
Okay. So let's say
Let's
they
give
have
it
a
a-
new color. What would you do?
If they had a new color,
1 to 5 stars. Would you buy it?
yeah, I would buy it.
Oh,
So I
5
guess
stars?
for $90 though. Poof.
Yeah, you won't. You'll buy it, but you won't feel good about it. Is what I'm hearing. So like maybe
Yeah.
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 stars. Yeah.
All right. Joy-Con 2 strap, $12.99 for a pair.
Don't they already have them? Did they come in the box?
They do for your original model, but I don't know if they're going to
Okay,
come
but
in the
if
box with the new ones. I legit don't know.
Yeah. Have we seen a picture of the side of the box to say everything that it comes with?
Actually, there is a website for all the accessories that are available. Let me go find it while you're thinking about your rating.
Yeah. Well, in terms of my rating, we're looking at probably for those straps. I don't care about them. 2, maybe a 1. I probably would not use the straps.
Okay, so left and right Joy-Cons includes 2 Joy-Con 2 straps.
Okay.
So it has them. It has them.
Oh, so it's basically just if something is wrong with them.
If you
get
lose
new ones.
one, if it breaks, yeah.
Does the Pro Controller at $80
Come with a strap?
no, does it come with a USB cable? Because you gotta plug it in.
Does not state that. It does not state that.
It's terrible if it doesn't.
I mean, it'd be very Apple and Nintendo of them. It's like when they stopped selling the 3DS chargers with the 3DS. Joy-Con 2 Wheel 2-pack, $19.99. I'm using motion controls
Motion controls.
from Mario Kart.
Oh,
They are bigger. The wheels, they're bigger. They have to be to accommodate the size of the Joy-Con 2, but they're bigger.
1 star.
Cool.
Unless I can say I'm using motion controls. That's
Separate dock set, $109.99. $109.99.
absolutely not. 0 stars. 1 star.
Carrying case and screen protector set, $34.99. I'm sure this is being published by Hori, or not published.
Yeah,
my gosh,
right.
Manufactured by Hori, but
Still not getting one. No, 0, 1.
all-in-one carrying case. This is like
One
the
again.
big box, $79.99. One again. Jeez.
Yeah.
And then finally, a second switch to AC adapter, $29.99.
Like if my regular USB-C cable doesn't work, then I would probably get one just so I can have it like in a different place than where I have my dock set up, just to charge it.
Everything else has been proprietary. Why not the AC adapter? Like
Yeah.
the SD cards, you have to get
Shout
the
out to
SD
the-
Express, which is not a big complaint,
Yeah.
but like you have to have a specific SD card to expand your memory in the Switch too. They even stated that. I don't know why I didn't have that in my features up top. I should have. I forgot about it until just now. Okay. So here's where I'm at for it. All new Pro Controller, 5 stars. Nintendo Switch 2 camera, 2 stars. Joy-Con 2. Again, I'm in the same boat with you, but I think I'm a little higher on it. I would say like 4 stars for a second set of Joy-Con 2. But again, same boat as you. I want to see a different colorway. Joy-Con 2 strap. I hardly ever use those things anyway. Like, I know they provide the mouse slide, but if I'm getting them anyway, and if I buy a secondary set of Joy-Con, like I don't need that, right? 1 star. Joy-Con 2 wheel 2-pack. I bought the original Joy-Con wheels, was totally stoked about it, used them one time and went, these are too small. And I'm going to give it a 1 star. Separate dock set. I'm actually more on board with a separate dock set. I've never bought a separate dock set because I've just bought more Nintendo Switches. But having multiple docks to be able to connect to the multiple TVs that I have in my house, like if I'm playing downstairs and I want to go to bed, and let's say the wife and I want to play a game on the TV, because I used to have a dock in our first house that we bought. I had a dock on the living room TV, and we had a dock in our master bedroom. and we would just, when new demos and stuff would come out after I got done working for the day, we would go to our bedroom and lay down on the bed and play Nintendo Switch. Like it was kind of nice having that secondary dock, even though it wasn't technically secondary. It was my wife's Switch's dock, but it was nice having that second dock at a different place. And mind you, if the price stays the same, it's 20% the cost of the Nintendo Switch too. So like that's not a bad deal. Comparatively. So I would say I'm a little higher on that, maybe like a 3, most likely. Switch 2 AC adapter at $29.99, 100% worth it. I've bought so many of those throughout the years. Eventually they tend to go bad anyway. And I like to use the actual Nintendo branded AC adapters, partly because they moderate their voltage coming through that differently than like Apple or any other like random USB-C does. And I don't want to chance swelling the battery in there or, degrading its battery life by using a third-party charger. So I'm more in the necessity camp of it, is like 2.5, maybe a 3 with the Switch 2. As far as the carrying case, screen protector, and the all-in-one carrying case, it's like a 2.5, somewhere in that ballpark on both of those. So those are all the mainline accessories that were announced in that. The BMC should be in the Switch, not in the power supply. I would agree with that. Unfortunately, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not.
So what was it? What?
The BMC.
Oh yeah. No thanks.
No. Which is, you don't know that that's true. From what I understand, they've advised not using any third-party chargers for the longest time on the Switch 1, and most people have advised against it too. But I could be wrong, and I could be misinformed too. We aren't an official Nintendo podcast. We are a Nintendo podcast. So, that does bring us to one of the final sections here, and this is a massively long segment. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games. I almost thought about doing a tier list for this, but I changed my mind. Like tier list for excitement. I changed my mind. We've done enough tier lists on this show for the past 2 months to kill a horse. But
what?
I don't know. Kill a horse. I don't know. Put a horse down.
Before we get to the games, do you think in 2 years' time, right? Do you think it will follow the cadence of like the DS to the 3DS to the 3DS XL, the way they do that? And do you think in
like the
2
Switch
years,
to the Switch OLED?
we're gonna get a Switch Lite, Switch 2 Lite? Do you think we'll get the Switch 2 Lite, or are we going to get the Switch 2 OLED but first? Market week.
I mean, if I'm being genuinely honest on that, God, I don't know if we're going to see a mid-cycle upgrade in the same way that we did with Switch 1. I don't know. And I don't know that we'll see, like Switch Lite was kind of a nice entry level. I could see them maybe selling just the Switch, maybe not doing a Switch Lite, but I could be wrong. Like I could always be wrong. Switch 2 Lite. I was excited about the Switch Lite when it came out, partly because it had a D-pad and not just like buttons. Like it had membrane, like not tactile switches, like membrane buttons for a D-pad. And that's what got me excited, because I was playing a lot of Mario platformers. It's really not fun to play on a Joy-Con. Like it's not to play a D-pad platformer on a Joy-Con. It's also not fun to play it on the Switch Pro controller. Not gonna lie, I hate the D-pad on the Switch Pro controller. It's got so many false diagonals on it, it's not even funny. But like it is hard for me to imagine a world where they put out a Switch 2 Lite in a couple of years. Was
it hard for you to imagine them releasing a Switch Lite?
Mm-mm. Not at the time. I kind of understood it. It was a, I think there are a couple of things here that affect that. The first thing is that like the economical situation that we're in as the United States, and even when you take a look at world economics right now, like I don't know how they put out a budget-friendly Switch 2 Lite in the same way that they did several years ago with the original model of the
It would just be
Nintendo Switch.
$300, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
Yeah, and that's not like when you get down below that $300 price range and you're like, this is $200. That feels like a budget console when you're getting something that's current generation, right? Like that feels like budget. And I think that's a lot of the reason that, like, you know, people looking at the all digital Xboxes, those are pricey. Like, I had so many people when those originally launched tell me, I don't want to buy the Series S when I can just get a Series X and have a disk drive for, you know, a couple $100 more. And that's kind of the same situation that we're facing with Nintendo in the sense that, like, you know, I don't want to get something with significantly less functionality when it's only like an extra, you know, in their mindset, $150, $200 more, when the reality of it is it will launch at $300 if they did do it. It absolutely would. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind it would. Unless they just made it less powerful. Yeah, unless they just jammed all the components from a Switch OLED into the Switch Lite and said, here you go. Like, it's at that point, you just buy an original Switch OLED. You know, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. So it would basically be like Series X and Series S.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the difference is...
Series S has sold well over time.
It seems like there's more going on with the dock in terms of some games performing better in the dock, and they got the fan in there.
Yeah. Well, there's evidence that your dock affects the performance. When you can manage your heat dispersion, your games can perform better. There has been these, I don't know, like console hacks where it's not even like even hacking the console. It's about, you know, thermal distribution within the system and being able to get significant frame rate upgrades on Switch 1 hardware with Switch 1 games that normally struggled at, you know, between 30 and 45 frames per second could get up to that 70 frames per second mark at a consistent rate. So I don't know. Like, I think it would be like, it's just, that would be a huge downgrade if you tried to do that, and it would be a hard sell. I think it would be a hard sell. That's just me personally from a marketing perspective. I think it'd be a hard sell. But I'm not the expert. And we'll have to see what Nintendo decides to do. I would not buy a Switch 2 Lite personally, not in the economy that we currently have. Maybe I'm wrong for that. Who knows? Games. What about you, Chris? How do you feel about it? Before we do move into games, because you asked me, I didn't ask you back.
No, I know.
I know you didn't, you self-centered son of a gun. How do you feel about it?
I think, you know, like you said, it was much more appealing to just get a Switch Lite because it was $199.
Mm-hmm.
You know, $299 for a Switch
2 Lite.
A Switch 2 Lite. I feel like that wouldn't really...
To Switch 2 Lites.
Yeah. I mean, maybe unless they were to give us like Switch 2 Lite at $299 with Hall Effect sticks.
That's the only. So I had a thought on the Hall Effect sticks too, because those got confirmed to not be in there, and I popped into the Discord and I was talking with Nettist about it, because Nettist he had floated that he was disappointed that Hall Effect sticks didn't happen. My thoughts on it are this.
Let's hear it. What do you think?
The magnetic connection between the Joy-Con to the system may have been too strong to allow a Hall Effect stick in that small housing to not throw off its magnetic field and give you a whole lot of false inputs and cause essentially Joy-Con drift, because they operate with magnets. Like, the Hall Effect sticks are magnets. So if
Right,
you have
so-
a magnet close to another magnet, it's going to screw with your inputs. And I legit think that's the whole reason they didn't do it.
And why didn't they do it in the Pro Controller?
That's a good question. I didn't even think about that. Do we know they haven't done it in the Pro Controller? Have they said what the Pro Controller is made like?
I don't think
They have. The
talked
only
about
thing
it.
they've stated is that Hall Effect sticks are not in the Joy-Con, as far as I know. They said it's not Hall
Right.
Effects on the Pro Controller too.
Well, they just said no Hall Effect sticks.
Pro
They
Controller
said they're
Switch
bigger,
2.
so
Let me get a look. All right, I'm doing a quick Google. Joy-Con. All they've mentioned is Joy-Con, as far as I can see. They said the Joy-Cons and Pro Controller sticks were made from the ground up, which suggests they're the same.
yeah, I don't think. Maybe that'll be a big feature for the OLED.
Oh, man.
Also, we didn't talk about how your micro SD cards aren't going to work, even
we
for
did.
Switch 1 games.
I have
Oh, we
mentioned
did?
it. You gotta have the
Wow.
SD Express, which is kind of industry standard now, but like it is kind of frustrating where like if you're currently using like a non-express style SD card, you can't use it, which is frustrating. Like I don't think the micro SD card I have in my current Switch is a express SD card.
No, I just got an Extreme. It's not Express. It's Extreme. I got
Extreme.
excited for a second when I saw my 1 terabyte. And I was like, it's an Extreme, not
Not seeing anything on the
not,
sticks for the Pro Controller.
Express, sadly. I do think. I mean, it's not enough space. 256, not enough.
Oh God, no! Especially where I'm going all digital this next generation to avoid paying $90 for a physical cartridge.
I think they
Actually,
said
let's
Street Fighter's like
backtrack
50
just a little
gigs.
bit because the $90 price tag for physical games has pretty much been for the most part debunked. No one's ever stated how much those things are actually going to cost from Nintendo. They have their MSRP for Mario Kart World as listed as $79.99, and that is it. Period. It doesn't specify digital versus physical.
Right.
Listed on Spain's website.
And then not only that, but then I forget where it was, but I don't think it was Japan. Maybe was it Australia where MSRP for the games was cheaper than what Nintendo had listed, or what they were listing on for pre-orders. Yeah, it was on Nintendo Spain. Is Nintendo Spain the one that also?
So they
gave
include the
us-
price after tax in euros over there. And that is the total price including the taxes on it.
Mm.
So that's interesting. Okay. They listed it explicitly as digital versus physical? I don't have an answer for that. I haven't seen anything else on it. They really probably should clarify and deny or confirm one of the two. Interesting. Based on country pricing was silently announced to 80 euros digital, 90 euros physical. The different Nintendo subs are largely an international audience. After a fair number of European users went on discussing the cost of things, occasionally using the dollar sign rather than the euro sign, it was a quirk of communication that was being used interchangeable. North American Nintendo website didn't roll out until about 15 minutes later because the internet, that's 15 minutes all it takes for a non-malicious, non-international miscommunication of international pricing to take hold and spread.
Right, because people were just looking to see. They were just jonesing for information, and so like the first place that listed it.
Yeah. Let me see here. Okay, I found the original posting. Let me go over to here. So it did specify Numerique. Numerike, 79.99 euros. Physique, 89.99. So there was a difference in price, and that was unified across the board for Donkey Kong Bonanza too. I wonder if they have a different tax system for digital versus physical product.
If they do that, because I know in Japan,
Nouveau
in Japan they have the similar thing where actually the games are more expensive digitally than they are physically.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're at with it. Is like maybe in certain locations your digital versus physical pricing would be different.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I mean still.
Honestly, I agree with that take. I think it should be, but I digress. We're not going to get too deep into the woods there. You know. But I mean, since we're on the topic of the games, Mario Kart World $79.99 release day for the Nintendo Switch. Donkey Kong Bonanza $69.99 July 17th. Kirby Air Riders in 2025. Metroid Prime 4 2025. Pokemon Legends Z to A 2025. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour launch day $9.99, which at that point should have just been a pack-in game. Dragon Drive was listed for a 2025 release as well. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment with a TBD date. If you could only pick 2 games off of that list, Chris, only 2 games. No, let's take it to 3. Let's let you pick 3 that you would pick up immediately. Let's say that they're all at the store and available for you to be able to pick up. What 3 are you picking up?
Of all first party or
all those first party ish, with Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment being the last one. And it's not even first party really. It's just kind of first party IP. Right. Story of Seasons ×3 says tenderly.
Yeah, because Nintendo's also publishing Dusk Bloods, but that's coming out next year.
Well, yeah, but I'm considering that more of third-party developer, with it being FromSoft.
Because it'll probably end up being like the Square Enix games, where like 5 years from now they self-publish it themselves.
Oh yeah.
Nintendo they did with like Dragon Quest and stuff. So yeah, obviously, what am I getting? 3 of them?
Yeah, pick 3. What 3 are you picking up?
I mean, yeah,
Dragon Drive, Pokemon, Nintendo Switch 2, Welcome Tour, and Pokemon Legends ZA. Is this the 3?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Kirby Air Riders, Dragon X Drive. No, definitely Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong, and Prime 4.
I'm excited for Prime 4. I am excited for Prime 4, and I think Prime 4 is going to be a really, really good game, but I'm very interested in Kirby Air Riders. I'm very interested in Kirby Air Riders.
I would if it wasn't in a new Mario Kart year.
I mean, I understand that, but I
understand.
You know what? Okay, let's go Kirby Air Riders, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Metroid Prime 4 then. Forego Mario. I'm kidding. I don't want to forego Mario Kart World.
With you.
What? Come on now. No. Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I think you've got the best pick, Metroid Prime 4. I would definitely agree with that. There's a part of me that's very interested in Hyrule Warriors of Age of Imprisonment. I really liked Age of Calamity. It's been like one of the only Musou games that I really loved. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Yes. Am I going to answer it? Probably. What is it?
Are you going to buy Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour for $9.99?
Yeah. I'm going to be annoyed about it.
Did you see gameplay from it?
Yeah.
It looks awful. It looks so bad, and I just don't understand it. Earlier in the chat, Nedist was going off about how you can pay Nintendo $10 to learn how their console works. That's pretty much what it is.
It does look like the thing. I don't think I will get it actually because there's so much other stuff.
It is so bad. I just don't understand why. Okay, first off,
I'm gonna make a pact with you that we never get it.
I'm down for it. Let's pirate it.
I will only play it if it. Well, hold on.
But no, like
I'll
I
only
can't.
play it if it comes to NSO Plus expansion.
I'll only play it when it comes to Xbox.
When you what?
when Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour comes to Xbox, they got that Microsoft partnership. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
I can't. No, just get out of here with that nonsense. $9.99, and Tindy's right. Paid tech demo. What the heck and heck? She is right. Like, come on now. Like, I think back to the PlayStation 5, and when that came out, it came with Astrobot's Playroom. And then that eventually spurred off into its own kind of like series of games at that point. And Astrobot really became like the mascot for this. It was such an opportunity that they just chose not to follow it up, and Astrobot went on to kick the butts of Nintendo in creating the most Super Mario Odyssey-esque game on Sony's products ever and going on to get a Game of the Year. You know, like, come on now. Like, that's crazy to me. You had such an opportunity and you screwed up. You screwed up. You continue to screw up. I remember when the Wii came out and they packaged it with Wii Sports, and that was in the days of Reggie Fils-Aimé, and he's not there anymore. We have a very silent Nintendo of American president. I've met Doug. I like Doug. But I don't
didn't have a very silent. He talked.
He did talk. But what he said was not heard in the same way that Reggie's statements would have been. He is not the salesperson that Reggie is.
You know what the things that he said.
The things he said, how dare him.
Resonated with me in the same way that Sony's announcements leading into the PS3, where they said that
can't afford it. Go buy a PlayStation 2.
Yeah, and then he said, "Listen, it's not for everybody." Okay, but
there are a lot of people who are not going to be able to afford this, but please go buy the Switch 1 if you want to be in our Switch ecosystem.
Go get a Switch Lite.
God, the mistake, the PR nightmare of saying that. They just not. I guess that is the one thing they tried to do like Sony did. Like, even if they didn't do Astrobot, like they did that. Oh my God, it just makes me mad. To even hear that. Duskbloods, Elden Ring, Deltarune Chapters 4 and 5, Hades 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, Project 007, EA Sports, Madden NFL, EA Sports FC, NBA 2K, WWE 2K, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Hogwarts Legacy. Hang on, I gotta take a breath. Bravely Default, Flying Fairy HD Remaster, Borderlands 4, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, Yakuza 0, Director's Cut, Fortnite, Enter the Gungeon 2, Hitman World of Assassination, Signature Edition, Starseeker, Astro New Year Expeditions, Daemon X Machina, Titanic Science, Survivor Kids, Star Wars Outlaws, Silk Song, Kinitsugami, Path of the Goddess, Reanimal. Whoa, man, that was a long list of third-party titles.
Now you can only get 3 of them. Which 3 again?
Oh, shoot. Hades 2. Even though I have it on Steam, I would rather play it on my Switch.
I've got about 50 hours in it on Steam so far.
Yep. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I will gladly give money to play that again. And Silk Song. Of course, Silk Song. It's always going to be Silk Song. If you don't say Silk Song, I don't know what's wrong with you. But what are the 3 you're going to do?
Game someday soon, so I'm probably not going to say Silk Song.
If you say it, they'll just delay it. Is that what you're afraid of?
Yeah. They're not going to release it.
Oh man,
I'm going with Survival Kids. I'm going with Hades 2 and Final Fantasy 7.
Is Survival Kids is it like a spiritual successor to the Game Boy Color game? Survival Kids?
It's not a spiritual successor.
It is the successor?
It's just the game with the same
It's
name.
another one in the series?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
okay.
in some of my favorite games ever, one of my favorite games on the DS was called Lost in Blue, which in
Yep.
Japan it was called Survival Kids DS, and Lost in Blue was really good. It was like kind of like maybe the first like survival game that I really got into was Lost in Blue, and it was like you and your sister, I think. You and your younger sister, you're trying your best. But yeah, what I don't know who's making it. I it was like part of the game, one of the games that they showed right when they while it was going down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we watched it and it like froze for a little bit?
I don't know what my youngest son is saying in the chat right now. His favorite game on the DS is but that's
His
the
what?
live chat. Just read the live chat. It's so weird. Anyway.
Oh yes, of course.
That's the best game on the Nintendo DS.
Exactly. Lando, please.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's my favorite game on the DS as well.
Can I have like two more picks though? Because there's so many more games here than there was in the other one. Can I have like two runners up?
I'll give you two more, and then I'll give you two more.
Yes. So here's my next runner up, Dusk Bloods. I know I'm gonna be probably really bad at that game, but I want it. And then finally, Star Wars Outlaws. I haven't played it. I was very interested in it. And then I held off because first off, it's a Ubisoft title, right? That is Ubisoft, isn't it?
What?
Star Wars Outlaws?
Yeah, Ubisoft, yeah.
That's what I thought. And so, like, 9 times out of 10, those games always go on Supercell. Like, they always go on Supercell. So, Star Wars Outlaws is on my list, like, to eventually pick up someday and play. I thought it looked like a cool Grand Theft Auto-esque, story-driven Star Wars game. And I would like to play that too, I think.
Okay. So two more.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the leaks of the three unannounced or canceled games that
I did.
somebody found on it?
Yes.
One of them was
the Retro
Lego
Studios one.
Sid
Lego
Meier's
Civ.
Civilization.
Yes. Yeah. And then an early cut of Splatoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
was
is fine.
So early that they had rabbits, or
no, it was Splatoon 2. It wasn't Splatoon 1. So what were the two you would say? Two more?
Yeah. Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, because
is that a sequel to Kunitsugami?
No, it's a new game.
Okay.
It is a did you ever play Pixel Junk Monsters?
You bought it for me
PSP?
and then sent it to me one random day on Steam.
I did.
Yeah, you gifted it to me randomly and said everyone should play this. I wasn't even like, you and I weren't even close at that point. It was pretty funny. Cody, is your mustache large? And we're not taking any questions right now. We'll answer those after the end of the episode. No?
Is your mustache large? What does that even mean?
Does it look large? I don't know what that means. But you want Kunitsugami, and what's the other thing you want off that list?
I'm still thrown for a loop. The mustache.
Fortnite.
I'm gonna go. Well, yeah, 120 FPS Fortnite would be fun, but I'm gonna go with WWE 2K.
I'm surprised, but at the same time, not at all.
Just because, you know.
Oh man,
WrestleMania's coming up. It's actually on Easter, I believe, on the 20th.
My favorite game on the Switch too is YouTube.
Now hold on a minute. Since when?
I don't know. It's a little nerdwire spouting facts. Switch One games getting enhanced upgrade packs. There are 4 that we know of. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Both of those are coming in Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier in the episode. And I'm sorry, everyone who watches me over on my own channel, but the moment I have a Nintendo Switch 2, we are going to become a Legend of Zelda channel for a good little while. I want to replay through those games at the upgrades, the enhancements that they have. But those have been confirmed to be $10 to be able to just buy the expansion for the FPS and resolution upgrades. There is a companion piece that is getting added to the Nintendo Switch Online app that is going to be free for people to be able to get if you have that. You don't even have to be paying for Nintendo Switch Online. Bye Tindy. But the other thing here is the content pack ones. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands plus Starcrossed. Oh, I finally connect. She's not gonna hang out whenever I turn into a Tenderly channel. Oh my gosh, she's not gonna hang out when I turn into a Zelda channel.
If you're just sitting there streaming,
it's only Zelda.
If you just restream her stream from yesterday today, I don't think
probably should. I'm just gonna turn into a Tenderly channel where I stream all of my friends' streams on my stream.
Recap everything she did.
Yes.
So yesterday,
I wouldn't do that. I'm just gonna sit there and say I wouldn't have done that the entire time. But the ones with the plus content, and what I mean by that is Forgotten Land, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands plus Starcross World plus content. Those are $20. We had confirmation on that.
Yeah.
So those are $20 to be able to get those. I understand the pricing difference on that. I totally get it. I get it. I don't know that everybody's going to agree with that. I understand it and agree with it. It's basically DLC. It's basically paying $20 for story expansion stuff. Then you've got Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. I saw the demos for that. The camera stuff looked like a freaking PlayStation Eye toy. Awful Kinect controls. I don't need that. The mouse control games are really cool. But I'm not paying an extra $20 for that expansion. I won't. Out of these things, Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. Of these things that are listed here, out of the 4 we've got, if I didn't have Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion, I would get the first 3 things we mentioned.
You only get one.
If I can only buy one, God, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
I really love Tears of the Kingdom. There's a lot of people who liked Breath of the Wild a lot more. Not saying they're wrong. Not saying I'm more right than them. I loved Tears of the Kingdom more.
I'm not saying it. But...
I'm not saying I'm more right than they are. I love Tears of the Kingdom. And to be able to play that game in better resolution with better frame rates and experience that world all over again in a prettier way, like, give it to me. If I had to pick a runner-up, it would probably be Starcrossed World. I would pay the extra $20 to play Starcrossed World. I loved Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I 100%ed that game. Like, it was really good.
Yeah.
What about you? You said Tears of the Kingdom as well?
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. Don't. Okay. Well, yeah. Then plus we got 12 games that are getting free updates. Do you think you'll play any of them?
I don't even know what the list of games are.
ARMS, Captain Toad.
Oh yeah, hang on. Let me go look up that list. Getting upgrades, Switch 2.
For free.
ARMS, Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Clubhouse Games 51, Worldwide Classics, Game Builder Garage, Echoes of Wisdom.
See if they make a difference in the Pokemon and the Zelda games.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that take. Link's Awakening, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and Super Mario Odyssey. Those are the ones, and that's all free. Like, you don't have to pay anything for any of those upgrades. The only thing I see it doing is fixing FPS issues more than anything, and obviously like digital upscaling the games, unless they were built with 4K in mind, which a lot of these games I think were. This is after they started hiring people to develop them in 4K. Super Mario Odyssey would not be. I don't think Link's Awakening would qualify under that, but I think most the rest of these games had data in them that said, "Hey, we're focusing on 4K on this." Even though they obviously didn't use it, and no one ever publicly came out and said that, mind you. But it was after they were hiring for 4K 4K development. So I mean, I would love to replay Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I just don't think I will go back and play Scarlet and Violet again. All the way through. I don't. I would need more than, the past couple of years of separation from it to feel like I'm okay with starting that game over.
Do you think you'll try playing any of these games, like play them on the Switch and then immediately jump over and do some side-by-side comparisons of playing them on the Switch and then playing them on the Switch 2 with the
I probably should.
Okay.
I have all of these except Game Builder Garage and Brain Academy.
Oh, you don't have a big Game Builder Garage?
I thought about buying it, but I changed my mind at the last minute because I was like, I can't do that.
How much is it? $19.99?
Let me see. I'm looking at the IGN article, and it is listed as no, $35 right now on Amazon, $39.99 regularly.
$40?
Yeah, that's probably the big reason I didn't do it. I was afraid it was like Labo. I was like, I don't want to do this. But I don't know. I could probably do that for some content for sure. Which might be interesting. Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Switch Online app. This is the big news.
$29.99 digital for Game Builder Garage.
Oh, I was looking at the physical pricing.
And wait, what did that team end up doing? Game Builder Garage? They're working on something else, aren't they?
Labo for Switch 2.
I hope not.
Nintendo GameCube NSO app got announced. 3 games available at launch: Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2. My favorite Soul Calibur game in the series. Really, really good. But I liked... that was the one... because I had it for GameCube, because I didn't have an Xbox back in the day, or a PlayStation. But isn't that the one that had Yoda and Darth Vader as well on each of those respective platforms? So it was...
no,
GameCube got Zelda.
Yeah, you're right there.
What did PlayStation and Xbox get?
PlayStation got Hayachi.
That's right.
Tekken. And then
that's right.
Xbox got Spawn.
Yeah, I was mistaking it for 3.
Was it 3 that got?
Yeah, 3 got Yoda and on Xbox and Darth Vader on PlayStation.
That would have been fun if back then those games were cross-play. And, you could have PlayStation versus Xbox.
Yes.
Yoda versus Darth Vader.
Would have been amazing. They need to make it happen. F-Zero GX, best F-Zero in the series. My favorite F-Zero game. The last F-Zero game. RIP, unless you count F-Zero 99, which I don't. And then Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And Nettis and I were going back and forth in the Discord over whether or not it's okay that they're releasing this one instead of the HD version that came out just a little over a decade ago. I don't know. I'm not upset about it. I'm just glad it's finally there. Almost every single Zelda game is available on a Switch system of some sort.
Right, yeah.
The only one we're missing now is Twilight Princess. Here's my question. How would you feel if they just said, all right, Wii expansion Twilight Princess in 2 years?
Yeah.
You know how easy it would be for them to do a Wii NSO app? It's pretty much built for that. The Switch is built for that. Like, there's no reason they shouldn't.
Especially if they're already doing GameCube.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Here's my... So we talked about all these games that we're going to have. How do you feel about the launch lineup as a whole for the first year? How do you think from launch to the end of 2025 of the games that we know so far?
We got Nettis out here being thirsty on Maine.
What? Oh, yeah.
Nintendo doesn't want to release Twilight Princess because Human Form Midna is too hot.
How do you think it compares to Switch 1?
Let me go look at this launch year lineup for Switch 1 because I can't fully remember it.
Well, Switch 1 had
It
a
had
new-
Odyssey. It had Zelda. It had ARMS. 1-2
Well,
Switch. I
also
would argue
had-
that 1-2 Switch is better than Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour.
Yeah, well, it's also
Snipper
$50
Clips
more, right?
was amazing.
Snipper
Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Unless we get Mina the Hollower, I would say that Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is better than most of the indies that are on there, that are listed on there for this year. Fast RMX. I mean, it's no F-Zero GX, you know. So I'm gonna give
one
that.
of the games they
to it.
announced. One of the games they announced.
Yeah, I did see
is-
that. I did see that it's F-Zero inspired.
It's made by that same team.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the same game.
Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, I would say, is probably better than most of the games. Most of the indie titles. It's got a lot more replayability. I really enjoy Binding of Isaac. Has Been Heroes. Get that out of here. That game was garbage.
His ambition. Hello. Wait, what was garbage?
Has Been Heroes.
Oh, you didn't like Has Been Heroes?
No.
Fast Fusion. You only didn't like it because it was one of the first games published by GameStop. All right.
I mean, you know. Mario Kart 8. Seth Rogen. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I will say Mario Kart World does look better in every way compared to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was great for the first year. ARMS. Better than the sequel to ARMS. Puyo Puyo Tetris. I bought that game. My wife liked it. It didn't click for me. I wasn't good at the Puyo Puyo side of Puyo Puyo Tetris. Rhyme was cool.
What rhyme? Oh yeah.
Splatoon 2.
I think
We
that's
don't
it.
have a Splatoon, and we need something like that. And I still am hoping for Splatoon 4.
Yeah. I mean, we have Fortnite, and I hope, but maybe in June if they have something then for like more titles for the holiday. I hope we end up getting something like Marvel Rivals. I mean, it won't be the same, but I would like it if they were to try to push to get Marvel Rivals and what's the other one? Endless Zone Zero.
Zenless Zone Zero.
Yes.
See, we had
I don't
Flip
even
Wars.
know how to say it.
I didn't even play that.
Flip Wars. Well,
Yeah.
Flip Wars.
Mario Odyssey, Pokken Tournament, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Splatoon 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Bayonetta 1 and 2, and then Dragon Quest Builders. That was the launch year, essentially. That was developed by third party, published by Nintendo, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think this launch year can stack up to be absolutely way better than the Switch's first year, and the Switch's first year was great. Like,
Well, yeah.
I still like almost all of those games on that list. I still like.
Here's what I don't like. I think I was more okay with the Switch games. Some of them being just ports of the Wii U games because not as many people played them.
Yeah.
But now that they got now they're just moving multi-million seller Switch games onto the Switch too.
I mean, it does kind of fill out that roster a little bit better, but I mean, it's what 16 games total, right? That are getting upgrades of some sort. The 4 that I mentioned earlier, and then the other 12 that are not paid, that are upgrades. So
right, which those I don't mind, but then
No.
the Kirby and the stuff that them being there, I mean,
I really like
Even
Kirby and the
still,
Forgotten
those-
Land. 100%. I'm totally down for Starcross World. And then the final thing I had on the list from the Direct is Amiibo Sport. Now that didn't really get shown during the Direct. It was just hinted at.
right,
And then
yeah,
after that,
only one Switch 2 game
Yeah.
announced for, well,
It was
announced.
Street Fighter 6
Yeah.
with the
which
3 new
they're
amiibos.
getting 3 amiibos plus the cards.
Yeah. Like, it was crazy. Welcome in, WB Tech TV. Thanks for the raid, my friend. I hope you had a good stream.
But yeah, we're getting those, and then like later, was that just a few days later or a couple hours later, Nintendo just randomly announced, oh, also on the same day we're going to
It was
get
like 2
these,
days
and-
later. It was like 2 days
Yeah.
later. It was during the Treehouse days.
Yeah. You're also going to get these amiibo, and I guess they'll work in
The Zelda ones.
Yeah. Are they going to work in the original? Like, are the original Switch games going to get
I would have to
patches?
say, yeah. Well, I don't know if they're going to get patches in that same way. I think they're just going to function the way that the original ones did, where it was
They
like,
would just be food?
yeah, that's all you got anyway, unless you were scanning a specific Zelda
And then-
Link or
yeah.
Ganon amiibo.
And I guess they'll also do something, I imagine, for
Breath of the Wild.
Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, but then also the new Hyrule Warriors, not Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm interested. I'm interested. I don't think I think the Toys to Life stuff is kind of, unless they do a new Smash, I have no desire to buy another amiibo. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it would have to be a special amiibo for me to justify buying another one, or it would have to have a special function. It is very difficult for me to A, store the amount of amiibo that I have, B, display the amount of amiibo I have. And I mean, I say that as a person who, like, hang on, can I do this? No, I can't. I can't show this off on stream, but like, I have an entire shelf of Splatoon amiibo that are sitting beside of me that are just collecting dust. I don't scan those into the system. I did them the one time to get the equipment, and that was it. Like, that was the end of it. So, like, it would have to do something special. So I don't know. Like, amiibo support, like, I'm totally fine with it. I'm glad that all that stuff is still going to work. But I think the time for Toys to Life stuff is kind of past.
So you don't think more Nintendo games will get them?
I think they'll get them.
Do you think
Don't get me wrong.
Nintendo-
I think they will get them. Do I think that we need them, or that they will be a focus, or that they will do more than one thing? Absolutely not.
No.
I think that they are an afterthought from Nintendo. Netta says Amiibo were never even toys to life, they were toys to stuff. That is a fair correction, and he is right. They were toys to stuff. Like, they weren't like the Spyro Skylanders or the Disney Infinity stuff, where you scanned it and you played with that digital avatar in a game. Like,
right.
I mean,
some
except
of
in
them
Smash.
were
In Smash, they were
exclusive.
toys to life. In Smash, they absolutely were toys to life. You scan your toy and it comes to life, and you fight against it in Smash. Like, that is,
Yeah.
they were toys to life, but in most every other game, they were toys to stuff 100% all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
Toys
except
to
Smash.
fast travel.
Let's not get into that. That's gonna be a debate for years to come. I got one more thing I wanted to talk about, and this kind of wraps most of the episode, is the pricing. And there was a lot of debate on whether or not Nintendo did the right thing by not talking about it during the Direct. I think from a marketing standpoint, it's a cruddy move. I think it's disrespectful to consumers and buyers everywhere to not say how much your product is going to cost them, and then to require people to have to do extra digging and extra work to find that pricing, only to be shocked by the sticker shock of $450 or $500 for a system that is not on the same level as an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 in terms of technical capabilities. And that is where I am at with it on an emotional level, right? It frustrated me that they did not share the pricing on there, because the natural instinct for you to go for this to happen is, I've heard about the Switch 2, I want the Switch 2. Then to be told everything that it can do and all the cool games that are coming out for it, and I'm like, okay, I'm really sold on the Switch 2. How much is it? And then I have to go to Business Insider to find out from the Nintendo press release how much it is, and
Which
want to
released
die.
right after.
It did. It did. And I'm sure internally their mindset is, we're Nintendo. We don't need to tell people the price. It doesn't matter the price. They're going to buy it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be huge. But like, it is one of those things that I wanted them to tell us how much they were planning on charging. Then like, here's the flip side of it. You go 2 days later and pricing has to change because of the US tariffs that have been placed, reciprocal tariffs that have been placed across worldwide. And those tariff percentages changed. Specifically, it was, I think, an additional 36% to China and to Taiwan, which is where Nintendo's moved a lot of their manufacturing, up to 47%. Maybe flip it and reverse it. I'm not sure exactly on that, but up to 47% on one of those two countries. And they said, hey, you're going to be able to pre-order this on April 9th. No, you can't. Never mind. We got to backtrack because we need to reevaluate how much it's going to be. There are two schools of thought here for this pricing situation and what we're looking at. And I want to believe in the latter. I'm not exactly positive that I do. The first school of thought is they have to reevaluate and pass that cost on to us as consumers. And I don't think so. But
yeah.
The second school of thought is this. They need to reevaluate because of how much backlash they faced on the Nintendo Treehouses that they had. If you went to watch those Treehouses for the next 2 days, the chat was flooded with ! Drop the price! And people already had a knee-jerk reaction to that, to the pricing, to the point that it was like, drop the price. Then the reciprocal tariffs went in, got announced, and they're like, we have to take that down. Commodore Z! Raise the price. Here's what I think is actually going to happen more than anything. And this is me telling you, this is me telling the chat, this is me trying to convince myself of this. What I think is going to happen is the price is going to stay exactly the same. They cannot afford to drop the price because, from what I'm hearing, internal manufacturing costs are already $300. You take that tariff pricing, add an extra $90 to $100 to that. Now, most console manufacturers, they do take a loss on their consoles. Nintendo is the only company that doesn't take a loss on their consoles. But they don't intend to take a loss on the consoles. They really don't. They won't, if they can avoid it. So my expectation is that we don't see a price drop and we don't see a price raise. We don't see a price raise.
Yeah.
What we see is the pricing stay the same at that $450 to $500. It is effectively a price drop without it being a price drop. That's my honest opinion. What about your take?
Yeah. Here, I could see it staying the same. I guess it really depends on what ends up happening, because I'm sure they're trying to hold out as long as they can in case things get, another delay, or another 90-day push,
like a 90-day extension that was rumored but never actually happened.
Yeah. But I do think they're trying to heavily weigh their options and not sure what they want to do, because they're definitely not going to sell it at a loss. Nintendo won't do that.
I mean, it's like they said, if you can't afford it, go buy a Switch One.
Yeah, they got Switch One.
Switch One pricing goes up secretly. Yeah. So You know, we are not a let me also be clear with you guys. Like, we are not a political podcast. We don't normally talk about world news in this way, but this is something that is directly affecting us as gamers, so it's really hard for us to not talk about this because it defines the pricing for what we are looking at and for what you guys are looking at spending. But there is the other thing, and it is the pricing on games. And so get past the console and we look at the pricing on games, and there's a lot of backlash. $80 for Mario Kart World. Call me crazy. Don't call me crazy. But call me crazy. But
don't call me late for dinner.
I understand. I really do. I understand $80 games. I really do. If I can spend $80 on a game and not have it be generative AI garbage slop and have it be made by real people with real blood, sweat, and tears poured into it, paying people effectively and not, putting them through hell during a development process, if that makes it a little bit easier to swallow that they are going through hell, it will be something that I think is a worthy price to pay. I am okay with that. There are a lot of people who would say, no, this isn't okay. This is taking advantage of gamers. If you go back to the 90s and you look at the inflation costs across the board and you take Mario Kart as a whole, the very first Mario Kart, when you compare cost of living and inflation rates, was insanity. It was insanity. It would be $120 in today's dollars to be able to buy Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That is crazy, yeah.
But it put into perspective for me why I, as a kid, only got one game a year. That's expensive. That's a lot of time put in to be able to buy something from a parent as a gift, right? And when you factor that in and you sympathize with your developers who are going through heck trying to develop games, it is difficult. Netta says in live chat, 90s industry was very different, not really comparable in his opinion. Market was smaller, dev costs were more expensive for how long games took to develop, and they were more expensive to manufacture with smaller customer bases. I would go to say this in retort to that. I would argue that they are more expensive to manufacture nowadays with staffing. The amount of people that you see listed on game development compared to game development in the Super Nintendo era is drastically different. Hundreds of thousands of people have their hands in those games. And nowadays, like, that cost only continues to go up. And it is, that sounds like a skill issue to Nettis. It is one of those things where it's just, I understand it. Here's where I think it complicates matters just a little bit. And it is going to be this. Once Nintendo does it, every company in the world that makes a video game thinks it's okay to do it. And I don't think EA's yearly manufactured slop video games need to be going up to $80. They already basically are, because you have to pay to win in that game anyway. Madden. You mentioned WWE. Like, yeah. Every other sports game that comes out on a yearly basis, which is basically a DLC content pack that they ask you to pay $70 for currently, will go up to $80. Because Nintendo is the gold standard for what gaming companies do.
Well, and not only that, but they wanted to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they asked Nintendo. I mean, I think all eyes
Can you do this first?
All eyes are going to be on Mario Kart, because if Mario Kart can't sell at $80 as much as you would expect, then, I mean, NHL 26 isn't going to sell at $80. I also hope
Fortnite will be $70. It's a good night.
Please, I can't laugh. Please. Stop. I can see your face. When it comes to the pricing for it, I do think that they're going to be like a, what is it, like most of the games will probably be $70 still, and then if
Yeah.
they want to, they'll have them. I mean, I could see them doing $80 for, because what the rumor before the direct earlier in the year, a few, maybe what, 2 months ago, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
um, the um the Final Fantasy VII was rumored to come out this year, and then Final Fantasy 16 is rumored to come out next year on the Switch too. So
I would be surprised. I would be surprised if 16 comes out. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh man. My son is just asking for it in the live chat over here. Holy crap.
He just said,
He just called his mother a fool. Oh, she
Yeah.
timed him out for 10 minutes. He's out. Get my youngest son out of this chat. Get him out of here. No, I just I don't know, dude. Like the pricing, it sucks. In the economy we're in everything that we've got to deal with right now, and the amount of money that we have to spend on things that just to survive, right? Like just to survive. It is difficult to justify it. But I understand the pricing, and I don't necessarily judge them for it. And if the game, because here's the thing. I've played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for 8 years now. Like 8 years of playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And it's just one of those things where $80 for that many years of enjoyment and having a good time with friends, I would spend that going to watch a movie.
Yeah, right.
Taking my family of 4
Exactly.
to go watch a movie.
Yeah.
So I can't be that upset about it.
Especially with the amount of time that the amount of, like, especially for a game like Mario Kart, which you're going to put hundreds of hours into,
Yep. I wish I could
You're
just
gonna
pull
be
up my
playing for
hours
the next
played on Mario
11
Kart
years.
8 online, but I don't have my Switch in here. I could just tell you how much I've played on this Switch alone, like it's easily hundreds of hours. So that's the way that I look at that pricing. It is a quantity of hours versus dollars spent, and I'm mostly okay with that. I'm mostly okay with that. The problem is that you're going to have a lot of overconfident developers who think that their games are worth more than they actually are. Come out of the woodwork and expect to be able to charge that premium price point and be extremely disappointed when it doesn't sell because it is too expensive. I don't think that's good for the games industry as a whole.
Yeah.
I think for certain things it's okay. I mean, if you factor in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe plus the Booster Course Pass, if you're going to go buy that cartridge with the download code, you're already going to spend $90 on that right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Is this going to be a bigger game than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe plus the Booster Course Pass? That's the question. So, who knows? Who knows? One thing I do know, we've got a couple of games that are getting ready to come out. You want to talk about them, Chris?
Yeah, sure. Let's give it a go. First, let's go with the game that's coming out this
Oh,
week.
it played. It played the bumper. It's over now. You can talk. Sorry.
Okay. So I can't laugh. I sound like Seth Rogen. Okay. Okay. So Star Overdrive comes out on April 10th. It is normally $34.99, but it's on sale until it comes out at 3 a.m. Which by the way, I will say you can pre-order it, and the sale ends at 3 a.m. But sometimes the game still doesn't come out until noon that day. So this game is like a big open world, like you're riding around on this board, right?
Keytar.
In the desert.
Hoverboard and keytar.
Yeah.
It's rad.
It's pretty gnarly, dude. But I will say, if you want to check out the
Tubular.
performance, you can. Yeah.
I'll stop.
You can download the demo and check out the game for yourself. But yeah, $34.99 is what you're looking at for Star Overdrive. You might want to look on another platform.
It's on sale though. 31 something.
Yeah,
right now.
$31.50 until it comes out.
Have you done the demo on this game yet? I haven't done the demo for it.
No, I haven't.
I mean, it's worth giving a shot. Try out the demo.
Yeah. Maybe
if the only platform you've got is a Switch, then that's the best place you've got to play it. But I'm kind of with Chris on this, where like it probably is likely best played on a different console in most cases. Just wait till the Switch 2 optimization comes out for it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Just wait for that. Next up, we've got Monument Valley. And
Rated
that
E for everyone.
is normally $9.99. It is on sale for $8.99, so only 10% off. But Monument Valley is a very nice puzzle game. It's kind of like one of those like rotating puzzle games. I mean, it was like the most popular game on iOS for a long time before. Until what was that game that Epic put out that was really popular?
Fortnite.
No, the dirty dog.
It's no longer on there anymore though. They took it down.
Yeah, in America at least. Yeah, the one that you have. What's the one where you have to? It played kind of like it kind of played like Punch Out, but you had a sword and you were like
shoot, I think I know the one you're talking about. Frick. Hang on one second. Let me go to do a Google. Sword fighting iOS game. It's not Infinity Blade.
It is Infinity Blade.
Was it Infinity Blade? That art style didn't look similar. The app icon looked very different than what the actual game did.
Yeah. So yeah, it was Infinity Blade. And that was really popular. And then after that, there was this. And then 2 came out. That's really popular. 3 came out. And so far, I believe it is Netflix only. And
yeah,
so
you can
this
download
is
it
like
to the Netflix
first time
app.
you can get it somewhere else. Because Netflix bought them. And yeah, so 1 and 2 are coming out.
They're separate from each other too, aren't they? Like you have to get them separately for like $10 a piece, essentially.
Yeah, you can get Well, I believe 1 and 2 are both $9.99. But yeah, you can. So yeah, $10 a piece. You can get those, and those will be out next Tuesday. So by the time we're talking next week, they'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of got like the second one has like an MC Escher kind of vibe to it, even more so than what the original one did.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And now the third one is, I think, did it say the third one will have multiplayer? I can't remember.
You didn't send me the third one. You only sent me the first 2.
Well, the third one's coming out this summer, but I mean it's already out on Netflix. But yeah. It is coming out later. I was just trying to think if it did have multiplayer or not.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Other thing that I thought was pretty fun is the fact, unrelated to what's out this week, but Split Fiction is they're also going to have the cross-play so I can download the the buddy version and then play with somebody that has it on Xbox or PC, which is pretty neat.
That's true. That is true, which is freaking awesome. Chris, where can they find you, my good sir?
You can find me on Super Nintendo. Does pretty much everything. How about you? Where we're gonna find you at?
NerdWirePlays.com. It's got links to all my social media garbage. I'm pretty much NerdWire Plays everywhere, but I mostly stream Monday through Friday, although I wasn't feeling good for the past couple of days and life was a little busy, so I did not stream today or yesterday. Tomorrow I will be live at 8:30 on my own channel. We are doing a Marvel Multiverse tabletop role-playing game over there, which is really fun. It's our second session. I'm gonna have Commodore Zed, Team Wildwood, I Am Tenderly, Sakura _ and Retired 11 Bravo joining me to play their original characters. It'll be really fun. Come hang out. It'll be a good time. Watch some good superhero and get going on. And then Thursday, back at it again with I'm thinking I was gonna do Super Mario Mon, which was this Pokemon Emerald ROM hack that I found online that is all Super Mario themed. That was really cool that I was playing last Friday. But I think I'm actually gonna boot into Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I haven't plugged it into my Switch just yet. I just got it this week because I was in the middle of Mario Mania month last month when it came out, and I wanna give it a go on the old Switcheroo. This is the final Nintendo Switch game that I will ever buy. Nintendo Switch 1 game that I will ever buy. Probably a final physical game I will buy from Nintendo.
Physical game? Well,
yep, final physical game I will buy.
So the other ones, are you going to get them? Are you going to get them digitally?
What other ones? There are no other Switch 1 games I'm going to buy.
Why not? What are you, crazy?
What other Switch games do I need to buy?
Well, Tamagotchi, like
Nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Rhythm Heaven.
It's coming out on Switch too. I'll buy them digitally on my Switch too. They'll have Switch 2 upgrade packs. It'll be fine.
You do you.
Anyway, there are links to all of our social media garbage here for Nintendo Rewind. Remember, we are live every Tuesday night right here at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, wait, what?
On YouTube
Sorry.
and on Twitch. So what?
You announce what you're doing the rest of the week. I don't know what I'm doing the rest of the week. I just know I just popped a pill. I'm gonna sleep really well.
Chris is in pain. He had surgery today and he shouldn't have done the show, but he was insistent on coming on and doing it. So keep good old Chris in your thoughts and prayers for his balls. Anyway, love you guys. Good night. Bye. See you next week.